So you may notice something's a little bit different. Switched out the 72 for my old friend, the Z2, and for good reason. Finally, after years of waiting, Traktor Pro has finally updated. So in this video, we take a look at the brand new Native Instruments Traktor Pro 3. Find out more coming up. Thank you for watching PDot TV, where you'll find tips, tricks, and tutorials for DJs and music performers. Now let's get into the video. So if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that this mixer right here was my baby, the Traktor Z2. I pretty much got this thing as soon as it released, and that's because when I first started digital DJing, making the jump from actual vinyl to a DVS, I actually went with Traktor first for two reasons mostly. Number one, it's what one of my heroes, DJ Craze, used, and number two, the box for Traktor was actually cheaper than the old SL1 by a lot. And I really didn't have that much money then, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna be gigging as much. So I made the jump and purchased Traktor. And eventually I had to get Serato because it's what most of the clubs and DJs use, but I still had a soft spot for Traktor, and I kind of still do since it's where I had my start digital DJing. So once this was announced and came out, I had to cop it. And this was my road dog. Even when I was using Serato, I would plug an SL box into this thing and then MIDI map all of this and kind of work like a bootleg 57 for what I needed. And back then I was doing a lot of mobiles and taking my gear out. So it really worked for what I needed. And then as I transitioned more into doing more clubs and getting out there more and doing bigger gigs, kind of had to leave Traktor behind, and this thing got left at home. But never forgotten. So this was my main mixer until I bought that very nice 72, and I love that thing. But finally, after years of what seems like being completely ignored by Native Instruments, they went ahead and finally updated Traktor. So today's that day. Traktor Pro 3 is finally out, and I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys my first look. So let's go ahead and open the software. So go to click on Traktor. This is kind of weird. It says this beta expires on the 21st, and this isn't the beta. This is the actual version of Traktor Pro 3. So I'm guessing that's some kind of error and they're gonna update that. So let's just go ahead and click OK and wait for this thing to open. Yes, Traktor Pro. And what's funny is that my version still says Traktor Scratch up here, but Native Instruments has said that they've kind of gotten rid of Traktor Scratch and just embedded it into Traktor Pro 3. So if you are a Traktor Pro user and you never bought the Scratch upgrade because it did cost extra back then, you now have it built into the software. So all my controllerists out there that use the S2 or S4 or any of those controllers, you now have access to DVS without having to pay extra, besides the upgrade fee, which is only 50 bucks if you have a Traktor 2 license. So it isn't that much. I went ahead and paid that, installed it right away, really easy, update and upgrade. And what's cool is that it did leave Traktor Pro 2 on my computer as well. So if I need to go back to that software, if I ever need it, or if this doesn't work for some reason, I can always revert back to that one. So plus on that department, I like that they do that. Serato actually didn't do that, and it just replaced Serato DJ with Serato DJ Pro. And in some instances, especially at the beginning, I had to go back and I had to actually reinstall it, which was kind of a bother and just took up more time. But enough of that. Let's take a look at the brand new Traktor Pro 3. So first thing you notice is that they've cleaned up the actual interface, and it looks a lot flatter and looks a bit darker, which is nicer, especially in a dark environment like most clubs are. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that they kind of updated this interface, made it look a little bit more modern. It still has a lot of that Traktor Pro 2 DNA in it. And even Native Instruments themselves said that this isn't the complete rebuild and redesign that they talked about almost a year ago. But this is a nice little update and upgrade. So let's go through and let's just load up some music. So let's load up some Muramasa. Now, I've run all my music through Serato DJ Pro as it's my main software, but I do, like you guys know, I do use Record Buddy 2 to make sure all my music is in sync between Serato DJ, Traktor, and Rekordbox. So all my music does have cue points and beat grids just like this. So let's go ahead and put needle to the record and get going. Now you see that's one thing that I wish they did fix. Automatically, when I have my Z2 plugged in and I start the song, it actually starts in internal mode and you got to switch it to relative, which is kind of a bother, but still super responsive. And I always felt that way, that Traktor still to this day has a tighter scratch response and feels a lot more like real vinyl than Serato does. I don't know if that's just something in the software or the 2K signal that they use for their vinyl, but it's still, I haven't used Traktor in a while, especially with DVS. Still feels super tight, the control's still there, so I'm really glad that they kept that. Now let's go through one of the new features. So one new feature that they added to Traktor Pro is the fact that now, besides having the flux button, which is basically slip mode, now they have reverse. Now this is something that I really didn't know that I would need, or something that I really ever used before I started using Serato DJ Pro. And it comes in handy either just for tricks, or if you don't have a clean version of a song, you need to bleep something out. It's nice to have that quick reverse just to get that done and get those curse words out of a song that you might need. So let's test that out. So, pretty much the same thing as it is in Serato. You hit the button, it works, and it works like sensor, so it's not just putting the song in reverse, it's actually like slip mode, and the song's continuing to play forward. So let's try that again, just to show you guys what I'm talking about. Oh. Actually, you know what? I think I was wrong. It doesn't work like slip mode. Let's see if I turn on flux first. Oh, forgot. Nope. I don't know if I like that actually. I would rather the reverse work like it does in Serato and actually kind of keep going forward, because now I can't really censor a song the way I would in Serato. So that might not be as useful as I first thought. But at least it's in there, it wasn't in there before, so at least that's another option Traktor users have. Now, the other big one that they talked about, besides the whole redesign of the actual interface, is the new way they have channel effects, they call it. So basically, right here you have the filter. So I have control of it right here on my Z2. Instead of just having a filter, you now have the option to go to a bunch of different effects. So right here you have 5 to choose from besides the filter. And then if I go into the options, and then where is it? Effects. Nope, it's not in there. Let's see, where could it be? Maybe it's under mixer? There it is, right there, under mixer effects. Not channel effects, sorry, they're called mixer effects. So now you have 4 slots, and you can actually choose different ones. So not only do you have the 4 that that you have access to, you actually have different ones that you can select from. Now I've changed a couple of these. I changed this one to crush, and this one's still time gate. I'm kind of not sure what I want that one to be. So this is kind of like the sound color effects that you'd find on a Pioneer DJM mixer, like the 900, 800, which is pretty cool. So now you don't just have a filter, you have more functionality. And there's one that I really like. So let's go through the filter, of course, first. So 2-pole filter, just like you had in the previous version of Traktor Pro 2. But now if I change this to something like a reverb, instant effects. And right there, it's post fader too, which is awesome. So you get like that nice, drawn out reverb. You can drop the fader and kind of use that as a transition tool. And that also brings up the next one that I feel like if I'm using Traktor Pro that I'm gonna use a lot, which is the actual delay. So this is the dual delay, because there's 2 different delays, one for the left side and one for the right side. So let's take a listen to each of those. So that one kind of has like a high pass. And that one has a low pass. So that's why it's a dual delay. It's like a filtered a dual pole filter delay, which is really cool. And what's cool about that is it's also synced to the BPM in Traktor. So I can kind of use this as a really quick way to do an echo out, which is really nice. So, and then I can go into my next song. It's gonna drown out, and then I can just kind of fade it out using that. Now on the Z2, of course, just like previous effects on the Z2, they're post up fader or post volume fader, but they're not post cross fader. And that's just the way that the Z2 was designed. I'm sure just like with Traktor Pro 2, these effects are gonna be post cross fader as well on other controllers such as the S4 and the S2, especially the new ones. So can't wait to get my hand on a new controller, or I might even test it out on an old S2 or S4 if I can get my hands on one just to test that out. But I'm pretty sure that it's gonna work just like it should and be both post crossfader and post up fader as well. Now, one thing I was kind of curious about was, is Traktor gonna update the way they organize music with smart playlists? Because it seems like smart playlists are something that pretty much all DJ softwares have. Like Rekordbox DJ has their smart playlist, Serato DJ Pro has smart crates. So let's take a look. We'll go ahead and right click here. And it looks like they haven't updated that, which is kind of a shame. So you only get the ability to create a playlist folder or create a playlist. So that functionality isn't in there yet. Like I said, Native Instruments said this isn't the complete, redesign and rebuild. This is kind of just like a little small stepping stone until they get there when they rewrite the entire software. So kind of bummed that they haven't added that in. Thankfully, iTunes support is still there, so you can kind of still, use smart playlists in iTunes and have them load, and they'll be ready to go, which is still good. So if you use iTunes like I do, right here, here's all my music. I can still go through and access all my smart playlists that I've created in there. And that's another reason, actually that's the original reason why I used iTunes to organize my music, is because Traktor didn't have smart playlists, and it's something that I wanted to use and something that I could still use everything I created for Traktor in Serato. So that's another reason why you might want to use iTunes to organize. It not only allows you to use smart playlists in Traktor, but it lets you use the playlists you create in all of the major DJ softwares. So besides that, it seems like after going through the software a little bit, that Native Instruments really didn't update that much outside of those few things that they've added to the software that I've just shown. But like I mentioned, this isn't the major redesign that Native Instruments, promised that's coming down the line. But I'm glad that they at least, redid the interface, made it look a little bit modern. I will say Traktor Pro 2 looked kind of stale and kind of old school, comparing the way that software looked compared to all the other newer DJ softwares like Rekordbox DJ and Serato DJ Pro, just from the way the interface looked. I like this new flatter look. Some people were saying that they didn't like it, but I do. I can say that I really, dig the way that they've changed the small things in the software, like the darker color, the flatter look. I like the way that they have, the cue points here and now. They're just like 8 little buttons, kind of like you would find right here on the Z2, or the 8 pads that you would find on something like the S4. They've still kept pretty much the same kind of layout. So you have your 2 side-by-side decks. There isn't, stacked waveforms. I know that's something that Traktor users have been, crying for and asking for a long time, something that a lot of Serato users, myself included, really enjoy because it makes quick mixing when you need to use your eyes, maybe you have a bad monitor, your headphones went out. It allows you to use that, the visual element, instead of just, kind of blind mixing. Now, the other huge thing that Native Instruments added to Traktor Pro 3, and which I think is actually a really big deal and something I think is really smart by them to try and get their market share back and get more users using Traktor, is the fact that DVS support or HID support is now open to anything with the audio interface. So like me right here, I have my Z2 hooked up, and of course this is natively supported, so it's plug and play. But if I wanted to, open Traktor and then plug into my 72, I could do that if I set up the inputs. And I'll be handling that and checking that out in a later video because I'm curious. That means a lot of DJs that, needed support but didn't have it, especially one that was missing really bad was the fact that the Pioneer DJ DJM 900 Nexus 2 didn't have Traktor support. But the first one did, and it kind of left those users that were used to plugging into the first, Nexus in the dark because they couldn't use the newer mixer. But now they can use that Nexus 2 along with any other mixer or any audio interface and get DVS support, as well as, just use the software in general. So awesome job on Native Instruments with that, and I'll be definitely checking that out and testing that in a future video. So that's pretty much it. Native Instruments updated a few small things and a few major things. Number one being the redesign of the interface. It's flatter, it's more modern looking. And number two being the ability to plug into any audio interface in any mixer. Those are the two big ones. The smaller ones are stuff like the mixer channel effects that they have. Instead of just having a filter, you actually get multiple effects that are time synced to the actual BPM information on the track. And a smaller one being the actual, new channel or mixer effects that they've added. Not only do you get a filter now, but you get those, effects that you can choose from. And yeah, you get those extra 4 right here or 5 right here from the actual drop-down menu, but you can actually change those in the settings. Much like you can on the S9, you can change that filter to be whatever you want. But I'll say that I do like the fact that you can change this real quick right here into a couple different ones instead of having to dive into the options. Unlike the S9 where you actually have to get into the options before you can change this. You only have a filter or whatever you set it to. So I really wish, now that I think about it, I really wish that Serato and Pioneer would implement that. But until then, this is a real plus in my opinion, and probably one of the bigger small updates. So if you have Traktor Pro 2 installed on your computer and you're an old Traktor user and maybe you switched, like a lot of people that I know, because there haven't been updates to Traktor whatsoever, and you want some new options, maybe you're looking for a refresh, just something a little different from, that old piece of software that you had, definitely check out Traktor Pro 3. The update's only $50, which is awesome in my opinion, especially for those users that just had the old Traktor Pro 3 and not Scratch. Now you get Scratch compatibility, so you can use it with DVS, which is a big plus. I know there's plenty of people out there that just bought a Traktor controller like an S2 or S4 that wanted to get DVS but didn't want to pay that extra premium to get it. Now it's built into the software and you get it for just $50. So that's not that much, especially for DJ software. So if you're a Traktor user, definitely hit up Native Instruments website and check it out. So that's my first look at the brand new Traktor Pro 3. So question of the day, were you a former Traktor user? And if so, why did you switch? If you did, go and leave that down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And as always, if you found this video useful, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click right here to subscribe to the channel. Or if you'd like to watch more content, go ahead and click on that video right there. And thank you for watching PDot TV, where you'll find tips, tricks, and tutorials for DJs and music performers. See you next time.